gentlemen, as you know, those of you who have a history of coming to the theater here at Manhasset High School know that I never come to the stage. I really prefer to make the kids the center of the attention here. However, tonight is an unusual circumstance that I feel necessitates me coming forward and talking to you. Tonight we are honoring Carl F. Hughlin. We have dedicated this production in Carl's memory. Those of you who may have known Carl has been a fixture here in the Manhasset theater community and the school community in general for the past 40 years. He has been designing sets for us. It has been with a heavy heart that I have been able to get through this show. I have found often that I was lonely. I have found often that I had felt like I didn't have a friend. I certainly didn't have a colleague, and I certainly lost my greatest teacher. I have gone through high school, undergraduate, and I have 2 graduate degrees, and I have to tell you that in all those years, Carl was my finest teacher, which is a real tribute to him because he didn't have much formal education of his own. We are going to, as is a custom in the Broadway community, we are going to dim our lights as when a luminary on Broadway is lost, the lights of Broadway are dimmed. And so we hope that you will join us in this minute of thinking of Carl. Those of you who wish to make a contribution to some of Carl's favorite charities, those are listed in the program. Please feel free to be generous with your thoughts and memories for Carl so that we can help kids, because that's what he was all about. As crazy as we would drive him, Carl would end up the show sitting in the back row, looking at the kids with tears in his eyes and say, "Look at what the kids are doing." If you'll join me. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us this evening whose name was inadvertently left off the program. Please welcome our art director and new art teacher, Mrs. Lori Oldacker, and her family. Lori, please rise and be recognized. Thank you for all of your efforts in serving as art director for this production. And now, Manhasset High School presents The Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Then? he must know that spells are doom.
Victor!
And these lovely people will bravo me more or less.
Deirdre! Oscar!
There you are, how disengaged and there you are. There's only what's left to swear you are. Yes, there you are. And if we all should be forever where we are. So lightning quick, let's all kick up a fuss. We can't pray of justice blinding us. Don't think you're feeling us and winding us. I warn you, wicked friend, reminding us. You're finding us. We watch it and love. Be careful where you've been. And now the job you get how you got in. We want him out there. Yeah, there you are.
Thank you all so very much. Good evening and welcome. A very warm welcome to all of you on this most thrilling of evenings here at the Music Hall Royale. Tonight, we have the privilege of presenting for your approval the premiere performance of The Mystery
Of Edwin Drood.
This being musicale with dramatic intervals. Now, as no doubt many of you are well aware, our very own Mr. Charles Dickens was full halfway through the creation of the greatest mystery novel of our time, and he committed the one ungenerous deed of his career. He died, leaving behind not the slightest hint as to the outcome he had intended for our bizarre and uncompleted puzzle, the Mystery of Edwin Drood. Tonight, however, ladies and gentlemen, when together we reach that point in our story in which Charles Dickens wrote no more, we shall be asking you to vote upon key questions regarding the outcome of our plot. Our company will then do its most earnest efforts to meet the supreme challenge, to contrive an ending in accordance with your specifications. So, come on, let's all be as vulgar and uncivilized as is legally possible. Take off your boots, loosen your corsets, and enjoy yourselves. Oh, and by the way, the management insists that I remind you that for those of you who came alone and require companionship up through the final curtain, you need only speak to our stage manager, Miss Jane Throttle, whose pleasure it is to see that.
You need never be lonely again. I'll fix you up later, sir.
Oh, look, Jane, he wants fixing up now. His tongue is hanging out. Oh no, he's just wearing a pink tie. Hello. But please do remember, gentlemen, these sparkling and vivacious ingenues are not indeed salaried employees, so we do ask that you contribute generously to the cost of their theatrical efforts, and that you make sure all goods are returned tomorrow morning.
None the worse for wear.
Thank you. So by all means, let us continue with this evening's bill of fare. For the first time, the completed musical rendition of The Mystery
Of Edwin Drood.
Cloister, the ancient, mouldering city of Cloister. Not a particularly encouraging setting for this Christmas season now upon us. A wintry shudder goes through the giant elms as they shed a gush of tears. And here we are, in the home of Mr. John Jasper, choir master of Cloister Cathedral. Choir master, composer, vocalist, orchestra instructor. John Jasper is blessed with a voice that the angels themselves might envy. And who, dear ladies and gentlemen, more fit to essay the role of John Jasper than that gifted vocalist himself, your very own Mr. Clive Paget.
Another trifling day, one more soul-stifling day of blinding pain. Boredom grinds my brain down to my brain. A man who could go quite mad and not be all that bad. Consider each superb, disturbing urge you've ever had. To curse aloud in church a chooky's bloke that throws a smile your way. In that attitude, a man could have bad dreams and not be all he seems. far removed from all the noblest of extremes. Sometimes I think that sanity is just a passing fad, and then go quite mad. Unpleasant are the dull, one ceaseless, peaceless lull, one wondrous night, storm-struck, thunderous light would cast me right. A sculptor lacking arms, a sorcerer lacking charms, a fiend who frightens no one, bothers no one that he harms, whose clutches clutches only desperate respite from his dim tableau. This is so. I find myself in court, where one cannot be caught, and feel unwilling to contradict each edict I've been taught. And if someday I lose my way and mind will find me glad, a man could do quite quite mad!
I trust the alteration of your flaws really means you're conserving your energy for the final curtain. Mr. Clive Paget, who is playing John Jasper, is now eagerly awaiting the arrival of his young beloved nephew and title character of our story, young Edwin Drood.
Hello, Uncle.
Why, there's the lad now.
My dear Uncle.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, your eyes do not deceive you. Devotees of male impersonation are more used to seeing Miss Dudley in top hat and tails when she does her inimitable rendition of "Aren't I half a top?" But this evening she hides her distinctive form beneath the garb of young Edwin Drood. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause, if you please, for London's leading male impersonator and tonight's guest artiste, Miss Alice Nutling.
Any dinner, Uncle?
Edwin! You forget that words such as nephew and uncle are prohibited here by express agreement.
Of course you're right, Uncle. After all, we do only have half a dozen years or so between our ages.
Yes, indeed we do, Edwin. Indeed we do.
Hello, Uncle. Don't drink yet. I must propose a toast.
A toast to what, Ned?
He asked to what? To Rosa.
Rosa!
To the fair Miss Rosa. Surely you've not forgotten that she and I are soon to be wed.
It has not quite slipped my mind.
Yes, a tedious ceremony in your creaking cathedral, Jack. Then off with my wonderfully pretty child bride to dusty Egypt, where I intend to shake things up a bit.
Is it certain then? Egypt seems a very desperate distance.
Indeed it is, John. This portrait of Rosa is not one of my better efforts, yet you choose to hang it here. In heaven's name, why?
Because it reminds me of you, Edwin, and the happiness I wish for you and Rosa.
Oh yes, I'm sure we'll be quite happy, though our courtship suffers from an unavoidable flatness, owing to the fact that my dead and gone father and her dead and gone father had as good as married us at birth. Why in heaven's name could they have left us alone?
Tut, tut, dear boy.
Tut, tut. Yes, it's all very well for you, Jack. You have the freedom to love whomsoever you choose.
Don't stop, dear boy. Do go on.
Have I hurt your feelings, John?
Why, how could you have hurt my feelings?
You look frightfully ill. There's a strange film come over your eyes.
I have been taking medicine recently for a pain, an agony that overcomes me. Fear not, the effects will soon be gone.
My dear uncle.
Then take it as a warning! Edwin, Ned, this is a confidence between us.
It shall be sacredly preserved, John.
I have confided in you because...
Because we are fast friends, and because you love and trust me as I love and trust you. Both hands, Jack. My dearest Uncle Jack.
My dearest nephew Ned, a life without your friendship would be life as good as dead. The winds of hell may blow, but as you well may know, I'll heed your call, no need too small to face the fires below. For you, for you, two kinsmen more than brothers, we know no next of kin, and yet we know no others close beneath the skin. The blood that flows between us, the bond that ties us twain. Two kinsmen, when all others flee, then we remain. My dearest nephew
My dearest Uncle Jack, when men say words against you, I would make them take them back. A loyal lad of mine would be but glad to die, and by my death one extra breath of life for you I buy. Just for you.
Two kinsmen more than brothers, we know no next of kin, and yet we know no what's close beneath the skin. The blood flows between us, the bond that ties us twain. Two kinsmen when all others flee, then we remain. 'Tis true, for you, two kinsmen are we two.
Miss Alice Nutling and Mr. Clyde Patterson, thank you indeed for that splendid dinner. At today's prices, two voices at the same time seems almost an embarrassment of riches. Although, looking at some of you down there, I doubt you'll be embarrassed by much. But, to continue our story, young Edwin Drood is visiting Cloister to offer his regards to his bride-to-be, the fair Miss Rosa Butt, who, like Drood, is an orphan. Rosa resides in Cloister's most respectable seminary for young ladies, aptly, if not correctly named, the Nuns' House, and who, dear ladies and gentlemen, more fit to say the part of the Rosa Bud than that most delicate of English roses, that blossoming bud was even yet to be plucked, the unspeakably lovely Miss Deirdre Peregrine.
Rosa, I have awaited you in eagerness. I wish the happiest of birthdays to you. I only wish that I can see these words on each and every one of your birthdays.
I fear that is not likely, since, as you know, your nephew Edwin and I will be departing for Egypt once we are married.
It was only a wish. How lovely you look. Again, I must say, I have awaited this day with eagerness.
Eagerness, Mr. Jasper.
Yes, your voice will no longer be subject to the fluctuations of adolescence. And in what condition is your voice today, my loveliest subject?
As my tutor, perhaps that question should best be answered by you, Mr. Jasper. Shall I sing the Mozart?
No! I have prepared a piece especially for you on the occasion of your birthday, a choir master's pay being what it is. My life's blood is the most I can afford to offer you.
Sir, Mr. Jasper, I cannot sing these words. It would not be proper.
Why, whatever do you mean?
I'm not worthy of it.
As your music master, that should be my decision. From the beginning, please.
Between the very dead of night and day, upon a steely sheet of light, I lay, and in the moonfall, I'll give myself to you. I'll bathe in moonfall and dress myself in dew. Before the cloak of night reveals the morn, time holds its breath while it conceals the dawn, and in the moonfall, while sound is frozen still, it war against me. Your skin will warm the chill of moonfall. I feel its fingers linger, the veil of nightshade light me from stars that all too soon fall. Moonfall that pours from you. Betwixt our hearts let nothing intervene. Between our eyes the only sight I've seen
sir.
But lovely will not do. When you sing the words, I want to feel that you mean them. From the beginning, please. Again.
Between the very dead of night and day, upon a steely sheet of I can't bear the sweat frightened, take me away.
It's nothing. It's all over. Don't speak to her for a minute and she'll be well.
She's not used to an audience. Besides, Mr. Jasper, you were such a conscientious master. I believe you make her afraid of you.
No wonder.
You'd be afraid of him under similar circumstances, wouldn't you, Miss Madness?
Not under any circumstances.
Ladies and gentlemen, our own fiery spirit, the unpredictable Miss Janet Conover.
Good afternoon, Reverend Grace Sparkle.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jasper. May I introduce young Neville Landless? He and his twin sister Helena recently arrived from Ceylon, where they no longer have any family. Neville has been entrusted to my care, and Helena will be staying here at the nuns' house.
Welcome to Cloisterham, Mr. Landless.
I'm afraid young Neville's been given over to me to calm his rather hot-tempered nature and have to make a new beginning here in Cloisterham.
You and your sister lost your parents recently,
Their mother died when they were quite young. Now their stepfather has crossed over as well.
I'm very sorry.
There is no need for you bright gentlemen to console me. As it happens, it was well my stepfather died when he did, or I might have killed him.
Newest member of our company, Mr. Victor Grinstead.
I surprise you, sir.
You shock me, most unspeakably shock me.
You never saw him beat my sister. My stepfather was a brute, Mr. Jasper. In desperation, Helena tried on more than one occasion to flee our stepfather's cruel and miserly hand, even disguising himself as a boy, but to no avail. As for myself, I have had from my earliest remembrances to subdue a deadly and bitter hatred which has made me secretive and revengeful. I say, however, sir, your kindness and goodwill have deeply moved me, and I plan to change my intemperate ways and break new ground for myself.
There's the lad. He'll soon blend in, Mr. Jasper.
Your pupil, Mr. Jasper, she sings beautifully.
Thank you, Mr. Landless.
Your efforts have not been without success.
I trust so.
And may I inquire if your relationship extends beyond that of pupil and master?
Heavens, no. Miss Bonnie's betrothed to Edwin Drood, Mr. Jasper's nephew.
It would help to cast your eyes in other directions, Mr. Landless.
I beg your pardon, Mr.
No
Jasper.
pardon is necessary. But I'm afraid I must be off. Choir practice, I fear. I wish you well in your new life, Mr. Landless.
Thank you indeed, Mr. Jasper. I trust we shall meet again. And I should like to meet this Drood and see what sort of man is worthy of the affection of Miss Bud.
Steady, lad, steady.
You are feeling better now, aren't you?
Oh, much. Thank you.
These surroundings, which may seem very secure to you, are new and unsettling to me. You will be my friend, won't you?
I will be as good a friend as such a mite of a thing could be to such a womanly and handsome creature as you.
Who is Mr. Jasper?
My husband's uncle, and my music master.
You know he loves you.
Oh, don't! He terrifies me. I feel I am never safe from him. He makes a slave of me with his words. Threatens me to keep silent without him uttering a single threat.
What is it you fear, pretty one?
I fear the moon falls. I fear the night disguises night eyes will burn and blinding me.
tea at the nuns' house and travel for reasons which will soon become clear to the wickedest corner of the wickedest hole in the fabric of the city of London. Below the street and beneath contempt lies the opium den of the Princess Puffer. Here, the universal tongue of opium is spoken, with its sub-dialects of prostitution, burglary, violence for profit, and murder. And reigning supreme over this blemish on England's fair complexion is the Princess Puffer, who ministrates to a client's needs and who hears more than she tells. Portrayed this evening by the Grand Dame of the Music Hall Royale, the Queen Mother of the Red Light District, the good woman of ill repute, your very own and beloved Miss Angela Prysick.
Crime don't pay. That's what our tales are. If it did, would I be mixing pipes? What then ourselves for a pint of rotten beer? Throats you cut to pocket the robins. Are you slut to cob's on sleeve? Bash your face for bleeding tuppence. You're a disgrace to wax so cheap. Suave says, don't be a sinner for the price of London gin. You can't pay for one square dinner with the wages of sin. Sell me soul, cold love, come off it. Who would buy this sack of skin? On the hour, there ain't much profit in the wages of sin. In the wages of sin. In the wages of sin. Ah, if it isn't old Sam. Parliament out of session, is it? Care for a swig? Oh, what's the matter? We shared more than a nip last night. First night out on the town with him, is it? Oh, yes. Fancy seeing you 2 nights in a row? Now, what little piece of comfort have you been buttering up instead of me? What little slice of raspberry tart? Begging your pardon, miss, I'm sure. First night out of the town together? Oh yes, we'll never feel love, but I've had him on numerous occasions, and whatever he's got in store for you, praise God, it would be over in an instant. How do they pay you, love? By the note? Unions. I've seen girls from gutter families trap rich men with flattery ways, and they coo the gervais over natural breakfast trays. In my den, in bed 11, sleeps a bleeding hypocrite. Spent his days eyes cross-headed, spent his nights amongst them.
Angela, my dear, you must remember this is a family entertainment. You must be careful with the words you choose.
I do beg your pardon. It won't happen again, I promise. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Shit! Suave says, don't take off measures, do things right and dig right in. In this world, there's greater treasures than the wages of sin. I get threats, but seldom offers. If I did, I'd pack it in. You can tell too many coppers with the
with the last line, then we'll do it together. With the white Jesus. Bloody hell, that was terrible. Now get off your bums and give us the note. I'm not kidding. Get off your arses and we're gonna sing together. It's an interactive musical. Come on. Let me see. I know you can. Let's do it. What's the matter? There we go. I see some of you still sitting. Come on. We're not lazy here. Come on, you bums. Thank you. Now all together. Bless you all so very much. The meanest room in London, and as the light of day steals, would not the parishioners of Cloisterham be astounded to discover in better Levin the goodly choir master of Cloisterham Cathedral, Mr. John Jasper.
Woman, get me all the wine in quickly. Your medicine is less bloated than usual, and my work is only half finished.
What nuns? You make me opium with wine these days?
Yes, and get it quickly, before I can return to the grand landscapes and changes of colors. I must be rid of him.
Who?
Him!
God's Spaniard, there's no one there.
But there he is! And there I am.
Yes, of course. Now be still and have yourself a pleasant journey.
I can't seem to recall what I said. Can you please direct me to the nearest railway station?
5 you owe me.
Well, that seems an awfully large sum for a small courtesy, but if you are that needy. And the railway station?
The nearest is in Aldgate. It's a 10-minute walk away from the river.
Thank you. Incredible.
Who are you then? And what are you? I wonder how many of you noticed that meaningful statement. It sounded suspiciously like a clue to me. Might we have it again, my dear? Yes, once more, please. Who are you then? And what are you? What indeed? But it is now the following day, and as we return to less sordid surroundings, we meet Cloisterham's leading citizen, Mayor Thomas Sapsey.
Good afternoon, Mayor Sapsey.
Really? Oh, with a sack of what? Well, it's unacceptable, isn't it? But you notice once again, who gets out of it? Ladies and gentlemen, your kind indulgence for a short announcement. The part of Mayor Thomas Sapsey will not, I repeat, will not be portrayed this evening by Mr. James Hitchens as is stated in your programme. Mr. Hitchens, as many of you already know, has tended to appear more frequently at the bar in the rear than up here in front of the footlights. And so it will come as no surprise to our regulars that Mr. Hitchens is once again massively indisposed due to injuries he got while fighting for a lady's honour. Apparently the lady wished to keep it. And so, dear ladies and gentlemen, the part of Mayor Thomas Sapsey will be taken this evening by none other than your own humble chairman and obedient servant. This I refer, of course, ladies and gentlemen, to myself, Mrs. Wilhelmina Cartwright. I hope this last-minute substitution meets with your approval.
Good afternoon, Mayor Sapsey.
Good afternoon, Mr. Crisparkle.
These are my new charges from Ceylon, Mayor Sapsey. I'm taking them to meet... And in fact, here he comes now. Helena, Neville, may I introduce young Edwin Drood?
Sir.
Sir, I congratulate you on good fortune, Mr. Drood.
Good fortune, sir.
Your betrothal, sir.
Oh, yes. Rosa.
Our young Neville is soon to depart himself. You're singing to the Globe, Neville.
Sail on, Mr. Drood.
No, but very much the same. Egypt. I shall shortly be taking over my family's engineering concern there, and I plan to pull off a miracle.
Pray, what miracle?
The Cairo Transverse, a thoroughfare for commerce and travel across the desert to Alexandria.
A monumental task, Mrs. Drood.
Yes.
One wonders from where one will obtain, for example, the paving stones.
From the pyramids.
No!
Yes. My studies show that there is enough rock in the top half of the Great Pyramid alone.
This is English blasphemy. It is not enough that you take our delicate brew of tea and likewise improve it by pouring out making
please! Let's not raise our voices here in Cloisterham High Street.
I meant no offence, sir.
And I did not mean my awkward ways to arouse such emotion, or to ruffle your splendid feathers, Miss Bud.
I'm sure Mr. Landless only feels passionately, but it is part of the world, Edwin.
As long as he keeps his passions in check.
I fear I've yet to adapt myself to your restrained climate, Master Edwin. Miss Bud.
My uncle has already given me some account of your hot-blooded temperament and past, sir. I hope you have left them both far behind you.
My reputation presses me here. A situation I needs must fear. What hope have I of blending in with this my shade of skin?
I thought I'd cleanse my slate at last.
But they anticipate my past.
What shall I show them? The full effect.
What do I owe them? What they expect? A British subject on display, in from Ceylon to there. Our immigration to this location has brought our station down among this destination, divides creation. A rank and file and English are they, and British am I. British are they, and English am I.
There are two subjects we will discuss.
One is our monarch, the other is us.
And can I fear you soon will be the subject of scrutiny?
from where and why they'll try to guess.
King Burma, what's all the fuss? All Burma belongs to us.
If it is subject, bred and born, and subject not to scorn, our immigration to this location has brought our stations down and down. This destination, divine creation, ancient and fine, and English are they, and British am I, and our immigration to this location has brought our stations down and down. This destination, divine creation, ancient and fine, and English are they, and British am I. This is the way we'll stay till we die, till we die.
You see, Mayor Sassy, just as I have been saying, there is an instinctive rivalry between my own dear boy and that never-landless fellow. And I fear his hot-blooded Eastern temperament.
I think you exaggerate the matter, Mr. Jasper.
I will direct.
Do you not understand that there are more than one side, one face to all things in nature? Beneath Neverlandless's tainted English accent and adopted English mannerisms, there is a heathen landless, a tribesman landless, a half-blooded, half-bred, half-caste who would kill as easily as he would comb his own sleek hair.
Come, Mr. Jasper, this is quite extraordinary.
To the contrary, nothing can be more to the ordinary.
You see, I too happen to suffer from this duality on occasion. You see, sometimes I will forget things, and then on my way back to fetch them, I will half expect to meet myself rounding a corner I've already turned.
What about me having to be your chairman of this male shopsy bloke at the same time? It's damned confusing.
Indeed it is so. Just like our two-sided Neverlandless, I find that I am not myself these days, for all I know.
I might be you. There's more than room enough for two inside my mind.
I am likewise in a haze of who I am from scene to scene. What's more, we two are in a bind.
Or is it I, or is it me?
And if I'm him, and if I'm he, each one of us may not agree on what to do.
But if I take opposing sides within myself, then who divides up what is right or wrong?
And go along with you.
Hickety, whoppity, toppity, toppity, 12 to a shilling, twice that to a florin, and would you not fancy the currency foreign? I find the same face on both sides of the coin. Bob is your uncle from pennies to guineas, the two-sided mint is the rule, no exception, and would you not feel quite the fool of deception to find the same face on both sides of the coin?
Answering.
Heads or tails?
It's high and low.
Or black or white?
It's up or down.
Or left or right?
Or night
or day?
Nature seldom ever fails to most obligingly provide an undisclosed opposing side to wants its made.
There's shadows in this shining morn.
If there's a rose, if there's a thorn.
Your good is dead as soon as born, and yet we smile.
But life's division is perverse.
It seems to work more in reverse.
If things are better, they'll be worse in just a while. Halfpenny, one penny, twopenny, threepenny, turn to a shilling, twice that to a florin, and would you not fancy the currency foreign? I find the same face on both sides of the coin. Bob is your uncle from pennies to guineas, the two-sided mint is the rule, no exception, and would you not feel quite the fool of deception to find the same face on both sides of the coin? La, 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 same face on both sides of the coin. La, your uncle from pennies to guineas, the two-sided mint is the rule, no exception, and would you not feel quite the fool of deception to find the same face on both sides of the coin? Hey, Jasper. I shall certainly keep my eyes fixed upon this Neverlanders.
I hope you do, sir. But if you will please excuse me, I must change. Good day, sir.
Bye-bye. We now step out from Cloistrom High Street and fall in step with a relic known only to the residents of Cloistrom as dirtles. A gentleman whose knowledge of cathedral tombs is exceeded only by his capacity for wine and spirits. He is wending his way towards an important assignation.
What's that you say, Willie?
I said an assignation. With Mayor Sapsy, who lives just a round behind.
What's that you say, Willie?
I said a round behind.
And so you have.
Ow! I didn't come here to be insulted.
Why would you usually go?
I'm not a complete fool, you know.
Ow! Which bit is missing?
You're next to an idiot!
Pleased to meet you.
Ladies and gentlemen, assaying the role of Dirtles this evening, the clown prince of the music car royale. Your friend, not mine, I give you, and I don't want him back, Mr. Nick Cricker.
Assisted difference by my own lad, young Nick Cricker the second.
Yes, a warm round of applause please, for Nick Cricker and son.
Good afternoon, Mayor Sapsy, your lordship, sir.
Good afternoon, Dirtles.
I'm begging your pardon, sir. The cough. It's a touch of rheumatism.
You mean rheumatism?
No, sir. I've been working on your dead wife's grave.
Please refer to the late Mrs. Thomas Sapsy as just now, Dirtles, the late Mrs. Thomas Sapsy. That is how I like to think of her. And indeed, that is how I like to refer to her.
She was 1 in a million.
No, one in a raffle. But is my wife's tomb ready?
Yes, Governor. The door is all ready for my inscribing. She'll be much happier when we moved her from a temporary grave, though it's not been at all damp, and the mouse won't have been able to get at her for ages. Though there's nothing much we can do about the worms. I mean, they've probably made a meal of Miss Sapsy no matter.
Oh, that's quite enough, Dirtles! And who is this thing, this boy?
My pro-teach, name of deputy.
I put the lock on your wife's crib myself, your lordship.
That's right, I got the keys right here. It'll be my pleasure to unlock the door and slide your old woman in there tomorrow. There's room enough for all the royal families to have afternoon tea.
Yes.
That crypt is a national treasure, if I may make so bold, your grace. Just a while ago, Mr. Jasper asked me if I'd take him down into the crypts to see it.
You might like to add that line to your list of suspicious statements.
Steady on, Willie. We don't want these people leaping to conclusions without all the facts at hand. Otherwise, they'll be running off to the races.
Yes! Let's have a chorus of up to the races!
Stop! That's scheduled for later on in the program. We mustn't stop the dramatic momentum we're building here.
Up to the
For now, we must descend into the darkness. In hopes of shedding light upon our curious story, we follow Dirtles and Deputy 2 to the graveyard of Cloistrom Cathedral.
Dirtles! Dirtles? Dirtles! Who's there? Mr. Jasper!
What? Have you been watching me? You cunning devil, I'll have the blood of you! That will serve you! talking such lunacy, Turtles, and help me revive the dear boy. I only pray that... Ah! Oh!
There you are, so I'll stone your eyes out this time, so help me.
Quiet, you young wretch! Why do you assault me this way, deputy?
You're right for the asylum, Mr. Jasper.
Peculiar lad!
Blame it on his infectious youth, sir. But, oh, that was some excellent wine you gave me. More potent than I'm accustomed. Oh, did you get to look inside Mr. Sapsey's crypt while I was asleep?
No, I seem to have gotten lost.
Ah, well, I lost myself in a fitful dream. I imagined someone touched me and took something from me. Crikey! And here's what it was. Mayor Sapsey would not like me leaving the mausoleum keys lying about in front of his wife's crypt. He gave me strict instructions that the keys were to... Well... And now the keys to Mrs. Sapsey's crypt are missing. What do you think about that, Mr. Jasper?
I think that I have guests due any moment for a Christmas celebration, and our poor host I not to offer them all the joy and pleasure of the season. A happy Christmas to you, Turtles.
And God rest ye merry, Mr. John Jasper.
Yes, many a bright and shouting afternoon did spent here among these silent tombs, my own grave. You know, Rosa, we are not legally bound to marriage.
Then, Eddie, dearest, let us change to brother and sister from this day forth.
Never to be husband and wife.
Never!
I am honor bound to confess that this thought does not originate with you alone, Rosa.
I know, dear one, you've not been truly happy with our engagement. Nor have I.
I am sorry, Rosa.
And I for you, poor boy.
If only our marriage had not been assured since birth, then perhaps I'd know how I truly felt about you.
If we were perfect strangers, how perfect life would be.
I know if I adored you, you'd know if you loved me. Too long we've spent together to judge the view.
Too much we've been together,
and I assumed the future,
and I presumed that you were there. Yet I wondered
if we were perfect strangers, I'd find my way with ease.
I'd see the path before me, the forest from the trees.
Could life be real without you? You're always there.
How do I feel about you?
I care.
Too near to touch you, my dearest Ned. How much you mean to me? How much it means to me? Brother,
Sister,
I pray you take this clasp, left to me by my mother, as a vow of my eternal friendship. God bless you.
God bless you, dear.
How do I feel about you?
I care.
Too near to touch you, my dearest Ned. How much you mean
How can we know it?
to me?
How can we know it? How All this will come as a terrible blow to my uncle. Why, whatever is the matter, Rosa?
Do you think we could maybe keep our change of plans from Mr. Jasper for a while, Eddie?
Why, of course you're right. Why give him such horrible news on Christmas Eve? But I fear we must be off, for we're going to be late. And I fear there's a storm brewing.
What a bizarre climate you have here in Cloisterham. First snow and now this threatening storm. The gods must be angry.
God must be angry, Neville, not gods. We used to sing that here in England.
What a storm for Christmas Eve!
Yes, 'twas like this the night that Rosa's mother died.
Neville tells me you were once engaged to Rosa's mother, Mr. Crisparkle.
Yes, but I fear I was a bit too Anglican for her taste. And then, at a pleasure party celebrating her second anniversary, only a few months after Rosa was born, she apparently slipped while walking unobserved along the cliffs and drowned in the embrace of the ungrateful wave. But enough. Let us follow Mr. Jasper's lead and forget our grievances with life and with each other over a sturdy Christmas dinner.
I hope you all can forgive the meager merits of my humble table.
Hello, all. Sorry we're late, but we fought the storm
Miss
all the way.
Ballard, it is wondrous to see you again. Let me take your things.
I had no idea you had taken on domestic staff, Uncle.
Edwin, Mr. Landis will take you seriously.
No fear of doubt.
Now, lads, Rosa, you have no idea what it means to have you here in my private chamber.
Ballard, how is it in a season of holly? You remind me of a flowering hibiscus.
And how is it that you remind me of an inconsistent baker? For while your metaphors are quite stale, your manners are uncommonly fresh.
You go too far, sir.
Gentlemen! Now this is Christmas Eve, and I will tolerate no further unchristian-like behavior between you two. Now, this mulled wine is very good stuff indeed. I acquired it on a recent trip to London, and have prepared it especially for you.
Well, any port in a storm for me, Uncle.
Yes, any port in a storm. Very good, Edwin. None for me, thanks.
Now, let us drink deep.
Oh, this wine is more potent than usual, Uncle.
Yes, well, I thought you boys would like it. Now, I will tolerate no further ill will between you.
Please, Edwin.
There is no longer any cause for rivalry between us. You have my friendship, if you wish it.
Then a very Merry Christmas to you, Edwin.
The goose is cooked.
Miss Bud, I think your next Christmas will be spent in Egypt.
My God, Landless, perhaps you should accompany us to Cairo. I'm sure we could use someone to carry our bags.
What?
Someone better acquainted with a foreign tongue than he is with minding his own.
Gentlemen! Ladies, please be seated.
Sir, I don't much like your tone that supercilious knee you wear a finer cut than mine. Ah, but a waistcoat, one can soon be torn in faggots, too, till maggots feed on you.
Something in this speech seems ominous to me. Twin don't overreach, pray promise this to me.
Praise twin divine, for this we should be glad. Won't you try some wine?
No, where can come from there?
My dearest nephew, then, I wish to wish you well. The world is yours before you, just like
Oysters on the shelf.
Landless, as you are renowned, your blood is hot, but less than pure, less I'm sure than we. Your history would indicate the past of some have cast one through your vein to prove this thus explained.
Something sends a chill like feet upon my grave. Had my stricken will completely never save.
Could the words they say bring harm upon the land? Night must follow day. No, the kingdom from by.
my dearest friends. May I propose a toast to
To Rosa Bart and Edwin Drood, 3 cheers!
And here's the road.
How very blessed are we when oh so many star. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Which one of you will come?
Lances cut like blanket bone with daggers drawn like latitude. Latitude, who dare presume to stare to my mate, my wife, and share my life? I see you dead before sweet Rosa went.
Fate waits near. I feel it. I feel it. We are friends, and yet they'll not soon forget. Hearing Neville's threat, every epithet.
In yonder days I hungered for another, Rosa's mother. After Rosa's birth, she left us turn, now justice on of her.
So long a time I thought that I'm addressing all quite naive, but I perceive these boys, this noise more frightening than they might conceive.
With these new additions, there will be revealed murderous admissions, otherwise concealed. Fire on your right bird, warning you have had. No good can come from that.
What a storm for Christmas Eve! I must stroll down to the River Weir to see the spit of nature unchecked. Will you excuse me, Uncle?
Of course. I will join you on your walk, Edwin.
And we must retire to the nun's house before the storm. Good night, Edwin.
My dear.
Everyone.
Be careful how you tread, Neville.
Then I saw some ladies sing here.
Will you join us on our walk, Uncle?
No, Ed. I have some plans I must execute. But I will not let you go out to that flimsy coat of yours. You shall borrow my humble but serviceable caped coat.
Come, Edwin, your destiny calls.
Then goodbye, Uncle! Goodbye, all!
Shall these three meet again? When, if ever? It is now late the following day, Christmas Day to be sure. The storm is over, but in its wake there is to be found no trace of young Edwin Drood.
Mr. Crisparkle! Oh, Reverend! I know something terrible has happened!
Oh, let us wait until my assistant Basil reports. You have heard, I'm sure, the sentiment voice that no news is most certainly good news. And here he comes now. Basil, what news?
No news!
There, you see. I don't believe you've met my assistant Basil. His chief occupation is in guiding excursion parties around our church. Quite the showman is our Basil, though tragically misplaced.
Misplaced?
Yes, Mr. Basil carries with him a secret. Now, Rosa, what do you think Mr. Basil has done?
Oh dear, nothing dreadful, I hope.
He's written a play, a tragedy.
The thorn of anxiety.
When will this play be performed, Mr. Bassett?
Never! Sometimes I think he takes more pride in his lack of support, like a citizen of Greece who prefers the Parthenon ruin. But I hope to see Mr. Bassett's work performed someday.
I too, Mr. Bassett.
I love the theatrical world, but there are many stages beyond the proscenium. I long to play a larger part.
Then, Bassett, use your enviable creativity to find some accounting for young Drood.
That assignment I eagerly accept.
Oh, my dear, hopeless Edwin!
How like her mother she looks! Had the Lord seen fit to smile upon me, had her mother not married another, nor perished 2 years later at that pleasure party by the sea, I might have been Rosa's.
Father, I need your prayers!
Rise, my child, the cathedral bell summons us.
And is it not at all significant, Beatazzi, that Neville Landless was last seen fleeing the district?
You convinced me, Mr. Jasper, a secret murderer could indeed be hiding in Cloistrom's most affectionate bosom, and all signs do point to young Neville Landless.
My thoughts exactly, sir.
I shall instruct a few strong fellows to bring him here, using whatever force is necessary, so that we may question him.
You do that, sir.
Right enough now, and when we find him, we'll entertain the Morris Wine! Right, any luck, we'll have an egg in for Christmas. That's the dogs!
Jasper, look what I discovered.
Why, it's my coat, the one I gave to Edwin last night. And it's been torn to ribbons and blood. Oh God, there's blood on it. Where did you find this?
Under a rock by the river Weir.
My dear boy has been murdered. I take this oath before you, Basil, record it in your memory, that I shall fasten the crime of the murder upon the murderer, and I shall devote myself to his destruction.
I shall remember your words, Mr. John Jasper.
I believe that's it for you this evening, Philip.
That's right, Mrs. Cartwright.
You know, it hardly seems you're coming down all the way from Knutsford each evening now, does it? You seem to specialise in the narrow parts of late.
Not by choice, Mrs. Cartwright.
But let's see. In Julius Caesar, you played the part of...
A senator.
Oh. But at least you're in for the kill. If you think of it, it's rather odd that Mr. Dickens created your character at all. Unless, of course, he had a more promising future in mind for you.
That has been my solace in this role, Mrs. Cartwright.
Yes, I'm sure. But still, you do understudy Mr. Clive Paget as John Jasper. Surely one of these days...
Mr. Paget claims never to have missed a performance in his entire career.
Well, Philip, we're almost done with the first act, and the second act is considerably shorter than the first. Would you happen to have a song ready at hand? Shall we? Yes, why not indeed?
As a matter of fact, Mrs. Cartwright, I do have, in common with my role this evening, aspirations as an author and have composed a brief song which I say ventures to underscore the dilemma I share of the character Basil. I hesitate
Come, its title, Mr. Bucks.
What? Oh, never the luck, Mrs. Cartwright.
Ladies and gentlemen, a brief diversion in our journey this evening. The debut of an unpublished and perhaps rightfully unheard composition. Mr. Philip Bucks singing his own Never the Luck.
Never the luck, and never the lead, and never you mind, they say. In time we'll taste the lime in the light, and I'll have my night someday. Still, each precious part seems over and done before I've begun to speak. I cast out my line and keep my hand in, but I'll not stand in this week. Some starless night they'll call towards the wings. Who here dances and sings? That's when yours truly springs. And seeing me then, they will cry. Why? He knows each line and everyone's cue. We must let him do the part. I'll leave center stage. The music will play. I'll waltz my way into your heart. Plan and ever I plot with ever the pluck to try. I wait for my star by fate to be struck, but never
the luck have I that ever the dream have I?
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
There's your murderer, sir.
Reverend Crisparkle, what have I done?
Nothing uncertain, lad. I'm sure there's been some.
Madness! Where is Edwin Drood?
Why do you ask me in that way?
Because you are the last person in his company, and he is nowhere to be found.
Mayor Saxon, do you wish to question him? You left the river with Edwin Drood at what time?
In all honesty, sir, I cannot recall of anything. One transpired once Edwin and I reached the river.
What are these blood stains upon your shirt front and upon your walking stick, Mr. Landless?
I acquired these bloodstains, sir, just now, when these men of yours dragged me forcibly back from the countryside where I had been walking.
Neville Landless, as acting constable for the district, I place you under arrest.
Neville, how many of them did it take to murder you in this way?
8.
You have an interesting way with the law here in Cloistrum, Mr. Sapsy. And you, Mr. Jasper, for days now you've been warning all Cloistrum of impending violence between your nephew and my brother. What do you know of all of this?
Only that my nephew is dead.
Mr. Sapsy, I warn that young Neville has no knowledge of Master Druid beyond that which he has freely volunteered.
And you shall volunteer nothing further, Neville.
I would like to remind you and your brother that there is the issue of murder at hand.
Before you utter that word again, you laughable man! Perhaps you would be good enough to supply a body, a victim, a corpse, something more tangible than an enemy nephew, a demonous uncle, and a ludicrous city official who has no backing for his charges beyond pure pomp and sheer circumstance.
Yeah.
Well said, Helena.
She's right, you know, Mr. Sapsy. Without Edwin's fault, you cannot possibly arrest young Master Neville.
Yes, very well. Release him.
Oh, bless you, Mr. Crisparkle!
I am overpaid.
If only I could express my gratitude without this strange, somewhat geographically untraceable accent.
Right. Well, let's all pause for a moment now, shall we? So here is where matters now lie. Young Edwin Drood has vanished and may likely be Clive.
Dead. John Jasper has sworn vengeance against his nephew's murderer.
Whom most of this populace suspect to be Neville Landless.
But the charges against Neville have been rescinded thanks to Helena Landless's steely resolve and the support of the kindly
Reverend Mr. Crisparkle, who was once engaged to
Rose's deceased mother. Meanwhile, it's difficult to know what one should.
The drunken stonemason, Daddle.
And his younger apprentice deputy, not to mention.
Mysteriously motivated purveyor of opium, Princess Puff.
Statements to consider during the interval with one admonition. Should you find yourself leaping to conclusions without all the relevant facts at hand, you might find yourselves carried off to the races.
Let's have a course of
Spontaneous request brings us rather joyfully, I think, to a song. For what evening at the Music Hall Royale be complete without a rendition of its own trademark anthem of Off to the Races! When conclusions often lead the best of us astray, the wisest move in life is just to wait. Otherwise our galloping emotions run away like horses at the gate.
Off to the races, off to the races, off to the race we go.
But where the chase is and what the race is,
we seldom seem to know. Men with broken hearts are vowed to never more pursue a member of the soft and savored race.
Sing the race!
When they anchor to the ground, they suddenly will do a fair and favored face. Then, off to the races, off to the races, the flirting faces call. The saving graces, strong drinking places, the need for love at all. Don't fall back on your assumptions, hasty presumptions, mind you win. My gunshot like an arrow in my try lagging behind, you'll find you win.
Bless our Queen Victoria, she's He had to procreate, said she. Make me a mule.
Off to the races, off to the races, the same as poor folks do.
But she embraces her royal graces, the same and wants as you.
Part 2. Right, we are, I trust, rested, relaxed, restored, renewed, and more than ready to conclude what is certainly perhaps the most ambitious endeavor of the Music Hall Royale to date, that of solving, by your votes, shortly to be counted, the mystery of Edwin Drood. 6 months have passed, and English summer is in progress. But still there is to be found no trace of young Edwin Drood, and all of Cloistrom is agog with rumour and suspicion. But there are further developments. 2 inquiring sleuths have arrived on the scene. One being the Princess Puffer, whom you've already met. The other being a detective, a man of mystery who wears a bulky coat, a fulsome beard, and the name of Dick Datchery.
Aye?
I said Dick Datchery.
Right.
These apparent strangers approach with grand intentions and great expectations, which I might add we shall be premiering in Brighton next season. And like ourselves, they are just now arriving at Cloistrom Station. Treatment in London. than these tools.
Here to trap this man in black and white, with one clue as to the who and why. I find myself in this aggravating cope and face, navigating to this place, gravitating towards this case. I've come to town, my ear at every door have the clown, yet crafty at the core, settling down to settle up the score. A kettle full of fish I'll fry, I'll cook each goose to mix a metaphor on the loose. Oh, mighty meteor settling down to settle up the store. My medal will be more than tested, our debt will be repaid before I proceed. Oh, Drood, oh word, what's Drood? No grave. Who'll say who's done what and why to do? I'm on the scent, I'm inventing everything I am. Where's the sacrificial lamb? Here in bloody cloister I've come to town to ask at every door, then he drowned. Or was he washed ashore, settling down to settle up the score? Red herring on a briny beach. I'll solve this yet. I'll solve this yet. I'll make a grand inquisitor, make a threat. Make a threat. I only wish you would. I'm settling up the score for good.
Ah, Reverend, there you are. All things bright and beautiful tonight, don't you think?
Yes, as if the stars are mere punctures in the ceiling of the earth in which heaven's light can be seen, or something along those lines. I only wish my assistant Basil, who is away on business, could be here to see a night as this.
Hold on here, boy.
What is it, Durdles?
Here's a face we've not seen before. Welcome to Fair Cloister, Captain. I'm in the way of becoming official greeter to all visitors who might have the price of a bottle of wine on them. My name is Turtles.
My name is Datchery, Dick Datchery, and I was wondering if I could find any lodgings in these parts.
Ah, no doubt, Mr. Datchery.
Something architectural and out of the way, inconvenient.
Oh, here in Cloister we have any number of inconvenient lodgings.
Close to the cathedral as well.
Excuse me, sir, I couldn't help but overhearing. The only such lodging I know along those lines is a single lodging just above the rooms of Mr. John Jasper.
Is that the man who has been much afflicted after the loss of his late nephew, Edwin Drood?
Wait on, boy. This much afflicted fellow, John Jasper, is he always dressed in mourning these days?
That's the man, and you won't catch me going near him again.
Why is that, boy?
Because I ain't gonna be choked and lifted off me legs again.
I find that very interesting. I shall enjoy watching the comings and goings of this town.
That man should speak to his tailor.
We both have been guilty of neglecting your music lessons for far too long. When shall we resume?
Never, sir.
Am I being politely told that you have abandoned your studies altogether?
The politeness is yours, not mine. I beg not to be questioned. I will not answer any more. At least I have done my power.
Rosa,
I do not wish to hear you, sir.
I do not forget how many eyes command a view of us. But you shall still hear what I have to say, even if it is against your wishes. Dearest Rosa, charming Rosa, even when you were engaged to my dear boy, I still loved you madly, and I kept our secret loyally, did I not?
You were false to him, sir, daily and hourly as you are now. You know that you made me afraid to open his kind eyes to the truth. That you are a bad, bad man.
How lovely you look. Even more beautiful in anger than repose. It is not your love that I ask for. Give me your hatred in yourself, and that bitter scorn, that enchanting hatred. It shall be enough. I warn you, sweet witch, fair charmer, that you must stay or do more harm than can be undone.
You're mad.
I mean to show you how mad my love is.
Love? You dare to use that word?
Why, yes, I do.
Love is but a word that wandered here from pastures green, where 'twas rarely said or seen and seldom sung. Innocent enough, it was intended to be used on rare occasions, not abused by every tongue. Rarely has a word been ever taken so in vain, little meaning might remain as quickly blurred. Never has it been so quite exhausted such a term. Your sighs and syllables confirm how drain this word. You called love.
I call it love.
I called rude.
You call it rude.
You called lust.
Simply just.
I called blue.
A little true.
I called cruel.
And I the more.
I cannot bear.
Because I still dare to call it love.
I think it foul.
You scowl.
I think it vile.
See me smile.
Moral taste.
Tis your break.
I've had a go.
I will deny.
You're worse than bad.
My words are mad.
I give to sin. In the name of love. Rose about the dainty little face, whose every curl confirms that she's a child, a girl, and you'll fight. Rosa is the only soul in cloistrum, it seems, who senses just the sort of dreams you dream at night. Did you think your stare would stop my seeing? Every fiber of my being told me since I was betrothed that your most unnatural attention conjures words I dare not mention. You must know how much I loathed to know your wants,
To hear my wants.
to feel your clutch,
I need not clutch.
to hear your voice,
You have no choice.
to feel your touch.
Is it so much?
The dreadful
No
tongue.
need to ask.
To even speak.
I will listen.
The name of love. I do not fear.
I love to hear.
A tragic flight.
The angry bite.
I have a choice.
Of your fair voice.
Take to flight.
Unfazing night.
I'll not permit.
You will salute.
To death.
And give your fate.
The name of love.
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 The name of love. The name of love.
La 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 love. La 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 la
And in the moonfall, can you not bring
this victim and all his slave, save me,
and let
and he sees so in vain. Awake me like
my own
just
mixed with wine?
mixed with the thunder of his love. You call it love. The name of love is killing to me. Eyes one sight alone, which he did.
Eyes one sight
As it comes to view.
Fall in love and lead to a sea of light, but 'tis the morning moon.
prepared something. Yes, and now I have one of the very bits of information I came here for.
You're leaving Cloisterham already?
Not bloody likely. I didn't come this far only to turn back with but one piece of the puzzle in my hand. I've never in my wretched life been this close to getting anything I set about after. More the fool I'd be to turn back just when I'm winning. I've never understood those in life who ease up just when they should press on. Once I bet my last 10 pence and won. Twice as rich then, friends said, call it done. How sad I said, so that's your wife's dream, eh then? 20 pence instead of 10. Double up my bet again. In life we start the same as when we're done. If you lose, you're just where you've begun. If you won, don't quit while you're ahead. Just press your blessed luck instead.
Don't try to think what move might be the best. Use the heart that beats within your breast. Never rest. Remember what I said. Don't quit while you're ahead to stay.
See my dream ship finally coming in like a steamship, anchoring into wind.
Lift your chin. Remember what I said. Don't quit while you're ahead. Let go.
I know there must be love that's yet to be. Only just 3 winks away from me, hopefully.
Don't quit while you're ahead. Don't worry how you tread. And who cares?
And there's a chance, one pipe dream that's fine, a romance quite ripe upon the vine.
Don't resign.
No victim ever fled. Don't quit while you're ahead. To say, da-re, da-ra. Woo! Baby, rash-a-doo, la-di-da. Woo! Baby, rash-a-doo, la-di-da. Don't quit while you're ahead. Don't say you're off the bed.
Don't let the moment go to waste. Not with victory close enough to taste.
Heed the call to haste. For God's own sake. So raise the sails. You struggle on the main, never break through. Any of the chain of faith. Don't quit while you're ahead. Easy on the set, you'll see. To raise our love.
Shimmering in the dim dawn of night. So long have we been blind, but finally we unwind the plot. The truth is this: we find out.
It was at this point in our story in which Charles Dickens laid down his pen forever. And so, this is all we shall ever know of the mystery of Edwin Drood. Tonight, however, at least within the confines of our own humble theatre, we shall together solve, resolve, and conclude the mystery. already met. A character from Act 1 who's roaming the streets of Cloistrom disguised as Datchery so as to better investigate the disappearance of Edwin Drood. Now, as no doubt many of you have already guessed, the part of Datchery has been taken thus far by none other than that master and mistress of male impersonation, Miss Alice Nutling. This does not mean that Edwin Drood is Datchery. Oh no, far from it. The reason for Miss Nutling's portrayal of Datchery this evening is, well, she was contracted to appear for 2 acts of our play, and our management believes that an honest week's work for an honest day's pay, if you catch my drift. Which brings us, ladies and gentlemen, to our first key question. Is Edwin Drood dead or alive? Mr. Charles Dickens experimented with many different titles of our story. For instance,
The loss of Edwin Drood.
The flight of Edwin Drood.
The disappearance of Edwin Drood.
but never the death or the murder of Edwin Drood. On the other hand, many would say that a mystery without murder is really no mystery at all. But, ladies and gentlemen, tonight most of our questions shall be answered primarily by you. But in a daring and perhaps dangerously democratic move, the Music Hall Royale has decided to allow our company themselves the right to vote upon one key question each night. And so, my fellow acolytes of the thespionic persuasion, your question this evening shall be, Miss Lovell?
Is Edwin Drood dead or alive? Miss Nutling, who has a vested interest in the outcome, will kindly turn her back to the cast. Gentlemen, ladies, as your whim takes you this evening, all those who believe Edwin Drood is dead, please raise your hands. Thank you. And all those who believe Edwin Drood is alive, do the same now. Please. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Miss Snutling, but you've snuffed it. By a massive majority, I fear. And our next key question, Miss Thornton.
Who is a detective? Dick Datchery.
Now, we can safely eliminate Edwin Drood from the equation since our company has voted him dead for
Dead? You envious little shits! It is obvious to everyone here that Drood, that I am Datchery, and it is even more obvious that this petty, jealous little cunt is envious of all the attention that I've received in the local press. Goodbye, all!
Miss Snutling, I'm sure that there's something we can... You have no idea the week we've had with her. First, her dressing room was too small, then her moustache was too long. I told her she was splitting hairs. But really, ladies and gentlemen, I must apologize for this bit of unpleasantry in what I'm sure you will agree was an otherwise flawless evening. But in all fairness to our cast and to our story, I must strenuously point out that many literary experts disagree with Miss Nutling's contention that Edwin Drood and Dick Datchery are one and the same person. Indeed, there are several other prime candidates for the part. For instance, I give you Helena Landis. About her, Neville revealed in Act 1.
In desperation, Helena tried on more than one occasion to flee our stepfather's cruel and miserly hand, even disguising herself as a boy.
A hit, a palpable hit! But is it a meaningful thrust or a misdirection? Wouldn't Helena Landis be fearful of pursuing John Jasper under the given circumstances?
Not under any circumstances.
But the candidates hardly end there. What say you of Bassett?
I love the theatrical world, but there are many stages beyond the proscenium. I long to play a larger part.
Who more likely to don such melodramatic garb and seek the spotlight? Why else does he appear in our story at all?
From my earliest remembrances, I've been secretive and revengeful.
Who more likely to investigate the disappearance of Drood than he who was suspected of foul play? Or did someone else wish to clear Neville's name?
Neville has been entrusted to my care.
The Reverend Mr. Crisparkle, whose passions and energies lay beneath his clerical garb. Perhaps he's adopted yet another uniform, that of Datchery, to save the lad who's been his charge and responsibility. And then there is the puzzling and intriguing possibility of Rosa. Rosa! Have we perhaps underestimated the resourcefulness of this woman child. She'd take it upon herself to investigate the disappearance of Drood. Looks can be deceiving. This much I do know for sure. Dick Datchery is not John Jasper, the Princess Puffer, Dirtle's deputy, or my own Mayor Sapsy, for in our play and in Mr. Dickens' novel, they all appear in scenes with him. They are observed to be in his company. And so we are left with the following candidates for the part of Datchery. And may I suggest that we vote the way it is done in amateur theatrical contests, as the handkerchief is held above the head of each candidate. Pray applaud for your own favourite for the part of Datchery. But do remember, ladies and gentlemen, there are larger decisions yet to come. We shall soon be asking you to decide who the murderer of Edwin Drood is. So don't merely vote for whichever calf mumber is your distant cousin, for God's sake. Miss Autumn, if you please.
The lovely Miss Rosa Budd. The aesthetic, ecclesiastic, Reverend Chris Sparkle. The underrated Mr. Bazzard. The tempestuous Helena Landless. All the way from Ceylon, Mr. Neville Landless.
Ladies and gentlemen, it appears we have a tie. Pray vote again, if you please, Miss Autumn.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Bazzard. Helena Landless.
Looks like Bassett is our Datchery this evening. You best make a quick change of heart. But now, ladies and gentlemen.
Excuse me, out of my way, out of my
Really, Miss Nutsling? Well. Ladies and gentlemen, such appalling behavior is due entirely to our upbringing. Her parents worked in the iron and steel district. Mother irons, father steels. You mean to say you didn't like that? Well, how about this one then? She was previously known as the orthopedic soprano. She sang in all the joints. You mean to say you didn't like that one either?
Allow me. She sang in a pub called the Cock and Comfort. Not much comfort, but plenty.
Are you mad? So that's the mood you're in this evening. No. But now, ladies and gentlemen, to a much more serious matter. For now, as in all great mystery stories, we must find ourselves a killer, a culprit, a fiend. In short, we must find the murderer of the dear departed, late lamented, vanished, vanquished title character of our story, Edwin Drood. Don't shut up one whore like that, and I'll send you all back to the Salvation Army. Who killed Edwin Drood? Who shall be our murderer tonight? Ladies and gentlemen, first for your consideration, I give you the most obvious candidate for the part, Mr. John Jasper. Ladies and gentlemen, do you not know that here at the Music Hall Royale we boo and hiss the villain? It's too late for that now. We'll have to do the whole thing all over again. Now, we're going to do this until we get it right. And if you don't, we're all going to form a line right here and sing 83 courses of The Church Bell Won't Ring Tonight because Vicar's got the clapper. We will ruin your evening. Here we go. Last chance. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the most obvious candidate for the part of the villain this evening, Mr. Clive Paget as John Jasper. Is this all there is to the mystery of Edwin Drood? That John Jasper, the obvious villain of our story, did indeed kill his young nephew, Edwin Drood, in hopes to win the love of the fair Miss Rosamond. Where then the mystery? That knocked the wind out of your sails, big mouths, didn't it? Where then the mystery? Where, indeed? So how stand you? With the obvious answer or for a more perplexing solution? Now, certain cast members can be safely eliminated from the bidding. Young Deputy and my own mere Sarcy role were, without question, intended for the purpose of comic relief, and never figure very intimately with the lives of the other characters. And so, you're left with the following candidates for the role of the murderer this evening.
Rosa Bargain. Why on earth would someone as innocent and pure as myself murder my own true Ned?
Neville Landless. In all honesty, I cannot recall anything of what transpired once Edward and I reached the river. But he was an odious little twit, and he deserved what he got.
John Jasper. Since the beginning of our story, I had stood in the cold shade of suspicion.
Helena Landless, did I, in trying to save my brother, bring harm to Edwin Drood?
The princess, Puff. Who am I? And what am I?
Turtles! I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than give Drood a frontal lobotomy.
Reverend Mr. Crispato, have I in some way confused my mission here on Earth?
Time, ladies and gentlemen, time at last to decide. And I suggest that for the sake of accuracy, we vote by a show of hands. So let's bring up the house lights and we'll... Oh, God, is this what I've been dealing with this evening? Why don't you all just join hands and try to contract the living? No matter. Let's proceed post-haste voting. Members of our company are circulating amongst you even now to count your vital votes. How are you? Number 5. Why not? It has so much fun. gentlemen, we have determined a murderer in our midst. I shall now offer a sip of port to your chosen fiend so that he or she will know your verdict. And ladies and gentlemen, so that the final denouement may come as a complete surprise, I strenuously request that for the next few moments you close your eyes tightly. Pray close your eyes for now.
Hey! Close your bloody eyes!
All right, I am offering the port. Our murderer is now drinking it, and right, you may open your eyes. You see, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot trust anyone here tonight. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as our cast departs backstage, where at this moment your votes are being counted, I only caution you to prepare for the several twists and turns as we serpentine our way to the conclusion that you have chosen for us tonight. And so, my dear friends of the Music Hall Royale, for the first time and at long last, the conclusion, the finale of The Mystery
of Edwin Drood!
Mr. Dickens ever wrote was entitled The Dawn. Perhaps not coincidentally, the last chapter he ever wrote was entitled The Dawn Again. So yes, let us begin our last chapter among the cold grey tendrils of a dim English dawn.
It's bloody freezing again. Air, Missy! What? What is it? Can you spare 3 and 6 for a Christian soul in distress?
We're both Christian souls in distress, I fear. I've little more than 3 and 6 to get me to London.
Running away from something?
Yes, at long last, yes. And now I must...
Rosa!
How did you know my name?
Know you? I've only known you since the day you were born. Only bathed you and fed you. Don't look at me, Rosa. I don't want you to see me this way. But can you remember your nanny, Rosa? Some 12 years ago? Will you look at me now and see a nan instead?
Nan. Somewhere. I was 6. And you weren't there anymore.
You do remember, don't you? You never really had a mother, did you? I was the closest thing to that for you.
But why did you leave me?
It's a sad story, Rosa. But a common one, I fear. I was once one hand, then I met a man. Tall and low, golden and just where my end began. Let him have his way with me, he knew his way so well. Led me down the garden path to hell. Marriage in the end, what I got instead was a bed in Camden Town, and then to me he said, should I send around a friend, be nice to him this well, strolling down your garden path to hell. Life's a bed of roses that prickle you, as they tickle you, they tear you all apart. Strolling through the mazes, amusing too, but nothing when you find there's no way out. Marriage in the end, what I got instead was a bed in Camden Town, and like I said, it was. No, it was so hot, Rosa. It was so very hot. He said, garden path to hell. Life's a maze of hedges that prickle you. As they tickle you, they tear by then. Couldn't draw the men. So I learned of trade and earned my keep with drugs, and then found myself a wicked shelf where opium hung myself. Here's a pipe for you, sir. Price is 5 and 2, sir. Can't you see the garden? It's such a lovely garden. I'll take you there, I know the path so well. To hell, to I'm deep ashamed you went through life alone. And yet despite my dreadful fall from grace, I never once forgot your name or face. One nice evening, a client of mine began to rain crimson lawn of wine. And as he drank his cup of Satan's blood, he made the great mistake of crying rose of mud. Well, it's one thing for them like me to mix and mingle with the likes of he. We are both made from God's most lonely clay and mud. But how comes this man to cry out, Rose of mud? Well, I can't see too clear, but I followed him here, finding out who was who. I come back in time or two. Then last night tracking me was this Mr. Datchery. So I follow his tracks to the lodgings in the back. Though I hate to confess, when I watched his man undress, and I saw such an one without his bold disguise, and the job took theatrics and no fear of hazard. Dick Datchery is hazard.
Yes, it is I gladly reveal. I joy in telling all I cannot conceal. Author am I, at least of this page. Joyfully now I take center stage. My motive in taking this part was to hone even further my art. A theatrical bent, a costume event, let me strive towards deep to my heart. The chance for some public acclaim, just a shred of a second of fame. A player to a plot to unravel should not pose a problem much harder to tame. This was my greatest audition, 2 decent roles in one time. Finally some recognition, staging the scene of a crime. Going out on a limerick, out on a limerick, out on a limerick, yeah. I found a theatrical kit, and as Datchery, I do my bit. So to clear Neville's name, I confess to the shame, 'twas a vanity too, I admit. I followed John Jasper hello, found the dance he'd sent to below. And when Puffer came here, 'twas immediately clear my suspicions were quite apropos. So I followed the lodgings of Jasper, dressed in a wig, what a sight! Then I found Rosebud's clasp, her mother she gave to that night. Jasper took it from Ned after hurling him dead, 'twas the way we were bed, I suppose. Tell him that Datchery knows, and the proof is quite clear. Let us bring Jasper here to be tried and then tied up and strung. And from this limerick, let him be hung.
I will not lie. I wished Ned to die. Twice dead. Spit into him, yet 2 eyes remain. A sultan eel who can conceal the venom in his brain. But his ink draws upon the paws, and madness of them smokes up the lines. Why this great surprise? There are 2 men and cunning bright is he, who hides himself, resides himself, where I've no eyes to see. But now I think he's at the brink of breaking through the door. I mean, he's out, I'm upon my flights. My flights that crushed the smug presumption of his rights. His rights as heir, his rights to share my rose's bed. It took no smoke for me to picture Edwin dead. That night I filled myself a flask of laudanum, and then to toast my Ned and Neville I drank some. That's when my finest flight of fancy did take place. I saw my hand outstretched towards Edwin's pale white face. And I saw my fingers clutching his neck so tightly, touching my sleeve, he fell so lightly. Moonfall on me. But God, the deed was much too easily done. As much as over once it had begun. Such tragedy to finally make the kill, and not to awake to taste the thrill. But now I've confessed. Now we both can rest.
No! I can't let it happen. Yes, you placed the coat that young Drood wore that night down by the riverway to throw suspicion on Neverlandless. You're a bad one, Mr. Jasper, when the evil's inside you. But you're not a murderer. You didn't kill Edwin Drood.
Do you mean to tell me that John Jasper did not kill Edwin Drood?
Exactly, your lordship, sir. It was a wild night that Christmas Eve, as you'll remember, Squire, and I'd been taking in more of the Christmas spirits than even I'm accustomed to. And I fear I couldn't help to raise a hand as Mr. Jasper thralled his poor nephew. Oh, God. I killed him! What reason could I have to ever want you dead? Why would I want to arm my hair upon his head? But I'm the candidate you rowdy lot have chose. And so my motives now I fear I must disclose. After Jasper laid his nephew in the crypt he fled. With court support to Drood I drank a toast. Then I heard him moaning, groaning in my drunken head. I thought Drood was a ghost. Then he started screaming, just like a demon. It was a dreadful cry. Drunk and stiff, my mind did hear it as a different kind of spirit. So I bashed him, smashed him. The murderer am I. Much thanks, goodbye.
Surely we are all entitled to a happy ending. We all have needed our lives for love, romance. Which among these will face that commodity we all seek? Who shall be our lovers tonight? On the Distaff side, we are left with the Princess Puffer, Helena Landis, and Rosabud. Pray indicate by your applause who you would like to see united in love with one of our remaining male leads. The Princess Puffer. Helena Landis. Rosabud. There you are. And let's see, we have some bachelors available for you tonight. Buzzard. Neville Landis. The Reverend Mr. Chris Barker.
would like to begin with you. Oh, Miss Rosebud, oh, dream unexpected, oh, bliss unforeseen! Oh, how unprepared I am for this duet. Help me with the words, won't you, Miss Peregrine? If we were perfect strangers, how strangely met were we. I find I now adore you, our best has yet to be. It seems I've longed to hold you, fate ruled it so. It seems I love you. Just not resist this ending. Once we have kissed, pretending takes no skill. This strangeness makes me thrill. If we were perfect strangers, I loved you perfectly.
If only he could speak to us from beyond the grave. What would he tell us? What would he say?
Hello, all. I'm alive. Lazarus, risen from the grave. Quite alive you'll find me. This tomb behind me is where I faced my closest shame. When I struck my head against the street, I was stunned, not stricken. A plot doth thicken as Jasper flew me off my feet. To the crypt I woke in dark beyond belief. And while all above me showed their grief, I was screaming for my very breath. Only moments from death, you have no idea the sudden strength that you feel within you, the steel and sinew, as fate stands smiling at arm's length. I escaped from the cloister I fled, and I did not return here till I could learn here just you in hell had wished me dead. But more than that, more than what solution fits the crime, what I've learned is life is a bit of time, and you fight for every tiny speck. When you're held by the neck, I have read the writing on the wall, and the greatest mystery is not the history of Jasper Drood and one and all. I have met my maker and returned. What advice I'm giving to all those living is just to learn what I have learned. Life is dear, there can be no victory in defeat. If outnumbered, beat a fast retreat to the nearest shelter, and again, when you live, then you win. Scratch the law for every day you're worth. Make them drag you screaming from life, keep dreaming. You'll live forever here on earth. I have read the writing on the wall, and it's clearly spelled out for those who held out, that holding on to life is all. Is it clear? If you hear my voice, then you're alive. What bloody marvel we've survived. When you think of every risk we face in our mad human race, I have read the
if you lose. You're just where you begun if you won. Don't quit while you're ahead, just press your blessed luck instead.
Don't try to think what move might be the best. Use the heart that beats within your breast. Never rest. Remember what I said. Don't quit while you're ahead to stay.
See my dream ship finally coming in like a steamship, anchoring into wind.
Lift your chin. Remember what I said. Don't quit while you're ahead. Let go.
I know there must be love that's yet to be, only just 3 winks away from me, hopefully.
Don't quit while you're ahead. Don't worry how you tread. Who cares?
And there's a chance, one pipe dream that's mine, a romance, quite ripe upon the vine.